So, apparently, someone online, some random person online, decided to call one of my videos immature. And the video that they are referring to is the video that's titled Rant, I Hate Working. Working is boring as fuck. That's the video that they decided to call immature. Let's talk about it. So, if you express that working is boring and insufferable, if you express that we were forced into existence to work and sleep most of our lives, yet have such little time to ourselves, then all of a sudden you are immature? That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. You know, it's ironic because calling someone immature or calling someone's video immature for expressing the reality of wage slavery, the reality of work, calling that person immature for expressing their hatred and dislike for wage slavery, ironically, is immature. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. It is absolutely not immature to express your displeasure towards wage slavery. Point blank, period. Now that we have gotten that out the way, since we're calling things immature, let's talk about the things that are really, truly immature. Let's talk about those. There is nothing more immature. I repeat, there is nothing more immature than creating someone into existence to become a future wage slave because you want to play house. Because parents are basically just children playing with toys. Parents are just children playing with toys. That's basically what parents are. They're just children playing with toys. The only difference between parents and children is this. Parents actually brought children into existence and they're using them as toys. Parents are using actual human beings for toys. Instead of buying actual toys, but nonetheless. Not only that, but that's something that they have done and they can't undo. Once you bring a child into this world, that's it. You cannot undo that. What's done is done. At some point, you get bored of playing with your so-called toys. And then you treat them like shit because you realize, holy shit, I'm bored of this. I'm bored of this. Nonetheless, there is nothing more immature than creating someone into existence to become a future wage slave because you feel as though you would feel miserable in life without having children of your own. You people claim that life is so great. Life is beautiful, da 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 da. Yet you resort to shrooms, you resort to alcohol, you resort to cigarettes, you resort to all these things, antidepressants, all these things you resort to. Really, it's just escapism. You resort to all these things to cope in life. That really shows you that life isn't as great as you claim it is. Nonetheless, those are the things I simply wanted to point out. Those are the immature things. Those are the actual immature things. Not me calling out wage slavery for what it is. You know, I'll say it again. There is nothing immature about expressing displeasure and hatred towards wage slavery. There's nothing immature about expressing that we were forced into existence to work and sleep most of our lives, yet have such little time to ourselves. Having to wage slave, even though we didn't sign up for it, even though we didn't ask to be here, there's nothing immature about that. It's absolutely pathetic. So, with all of that being said, think twice before you call anyone immature. Remember that no one chose to be here. Don't ever call anyone immature for expressing their displeasure for wage slavery. Don't ever call, there's nothing immature about that. That is absolutely dumb. Instead, call the parents immature for forcing people into existence to become wage slaves. They are the immature ones. If life is so great, why can't they just live their lives without bringing someone into this existence? I'm provoking your thoughts. I'm just provoking your thoughts. If life is so great, why not just live it instead of forcing someone into this world? Something to think about. If you feel like you'd be miserable without having children of your own, just try to live life the best you possibly can and leave it at that. Don't bring a child into this world, because what's going to happen is this. They're going to grow up and they're going to feel as though their life is going to be miserable without children of their own. And it becomes a vicious cycle. The whole point of this video was to basically just call out the whole this random person calling my video immature, because I basically rant about how working is boring and insufferable, and that we were forced into this existence to work and sleep most of our lives, yet have such little time to ourselves. I'm just here to call out that bullshit, that no, it is not immature to say that working is boring. It is not immature to say that, it's insufferable. No, none of us signed up for this. That's all I wanted to say. Once again, think twice before you call someone immature for saying that working or wage slavery is boring and insufferable. Think twice. No one asked for this. So you know what? Don't force someone into this world just so that they can, become wage slaves and express their displeasure about wage slavery. To prevent all that, just don't create someone in the first place. Live your life and be done with it. This is why I don't like people. They think that if you hate being a wage slave, if you hate working, if you find it to be boring and insufferable, they will try to gaslight you by either calling you lazy or immature. That's one of the dumbest takes I've ever seen. Being called immature because you despise wage slavery. Because you think work is boring and insufferable. What? Immature? If anyone is immature, it's the parents who forced people into existence to become wage slaves because they wanted toys to play with. Absolutely pathetic. Break the cycle. That's all I have to say.